Talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
This is Voice of the Phantoms and friend of the show, Matt Lipsack, and you are listening to the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
Welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast on the home of Phantoms hockey, Western Reserve Radio. And of course, I'm back here again with Knuckles and Moose, who just figured out why I called them that in the intro.
Yeah. We are eyesores.
One of these days we'll have to release some outtakes. This will not be one of those days.
For those of you playing the home edition, just swap the two and there you go. All right, so bunch of craziness going on this weekend. Of course, winter storms moving through the Midwest. Phantoms game on Friday was postponed. With Des Moines, they ended up moving the game to Saturday. The Phantoms game that was supposed to take place on Saturday with Waterloo, that game was postponed, has not been rescheduled yet. And looking at the Phantoms schedule, the rest of the way out, that's going to be a bit of a trick.
Yeah, some gymnastics needed on that one.
I don't think Waterloo's going to give up a home game to come to Youngstown to make up that game. But yeah, it's looking at the schedule. That's going to be a bit of a trick.
Yeah, might be a random Wednesday game out of nowhere.
It's a lot of the other games, because there was a bunch of games around the league that was postponed. A lot of them have already been rescheduled. I haven't seen anything on this one yet. So,
I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. So then the other issue coming into this weekend, you had Charlie Serrato, Hunter Ramos, and Andrew Strathman all suspended for what ended up being this one game. Ramos and Strathman will be back the next game. Serrato ended up with a 3-game suspension. Guess it's a good thing we didn't know that before we interviewed him last week.
Yeah. Anyway,
but
going forward,
we can confirm it was nothing he said in his interview that got the 3-game suspension. We can confirm that.
Yeah.
So then on top of that, Torrey Pittner, Finn McLaughlin, and Luke Osborne at the Chipotle All-American game. 4 defensemen right there missing. The Phantoms had called up Cal Houston. The Phantoms had to go with 4 defensemen. We won't go into too much with it. The interview in the next segment coming up with Miles Gunty, he actually explained a lot more of what happened, only dressing 4 D-men and how that went. So he'll be able to explain it a heck of a lot better than we could. So that gets us into the game on Saturday, the only game of the weekend with Des Moines. Just basically going to keep this short and sweet. Youngstown goes up 2-1 in the first period after goals by Braden Clark and Grant Young. That goal by Braden Clark, and I said to you guys, is it possible for a player to get an assist on their own goal? Because he just flat out willed that thing into existence.
Yeah, I mean, he made magic happen there pretty much. So
yeah, just absolutely fantastic on the forecheck, forcing a turnover back behind the net, and then ends up getting the puck back to score the goal. I think he should have had a secondary assist on his own goal, because that was just some incredible work on his part.
And that was a phenomenal snipe that he hit there.
Yeah.
Top corner from the angle he was at. like you said, incredible effort.
Yeah. Going into the second period, Phantoms go up 4-1 with goals by Miles Gunty and Sasha Boumediene. That one was on the power play. So Youngstown up 4-1. Des Moines would get 2 back later in the period. So Youngstown with a 4-3 lead after 2. And then Des Moines scores 3 goals in the third, the only 3 goals of the period that were scored. They pick up the 6-4 win. So basically Youngstown goes up 4-1 and then gives up 5 unanswered. And again, a lot of it goes back to only having 4 defensemen and a lot of times only having 1 defenseman on the ice at a time.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. Give Des Moines credit. They, I guess, finally figured out, how to exploit that. It did take them a while.
Not only that, I think when they had 2 defensemen on the ice is when they were on the penalty kill. And again, they were shooting themselves in the foot. I think, Justin, you made mention about hopefully they can stay out of the box. And I think as you hit send on that, they're in the box.
Which to their credit, I mean, from previous weeks, they did tone it down.
Right.
So, there were some extracurriculars. You'll always have that. So, but yeah, I mean, you can't expend that kind of energy. Like I said, to their credit, they did kind of tone it down. But yeah, as soon as I hit send on that, they went to the box.
Yeah, for what it's worth, also, all 4 goals the Phantom scored this weekend were all excellent goals, all either well sniped or well worked. Grant Young had a fantastic forecheck to the front of the net. He roofed it in. Gunty with another snipe that reminded me a lot of the goals he scored in the playoffs last year. And then Sasha's power play goal, he hit. I don't think he could have hit and been any closer to the corner of the post without hitting anything else. But what a heck of a goal that was. Talk about the 4 defensemen. Looking at the Phantoms lineup sheet, it was kind of funny to hear the announcer for Des Moines trying to work through it. She was trying to explain.
Well, they were very unique looking line charts for one. So, yeah. Yeah, Ashley Chase, who has done a lot of reporting in the Western Pennsylvania area previously, and genuinely one of the hockey good people. So
I hope they get her like a thing that caps her noise level when she calls a goal for Des Moines.
Yeah, that goal call just kind of comes out of nowhere, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It scared my cats.
Yeah.
And to her defense, if you listen to the pregame, well, there was no pregame because apparently she was like busy setting everything up. Apparently they had some travel issues with not only teams but staff in the league. So
yeah,
I thought she's pleasant to listen to. I thought though.
Yeah, I mean, if you were watching a game in this area, if you're watching a game on Flow Sports, it was a pleasant little surprise if you're somebody who's watched Robert Morris games.
Yeah.
Because that's Ashley Chase, who, Western Pennsylvania girl, spent a lot of time in the broadcasting field in Western Pennsylvania. You've heard her at some point, and then you turn on the Bucks broadcast, and there she is. So, I mean, it was a pleasant little surprise.
Right. Talking more on you talk about the 3 suspensions we had for this game. It made me go back and look. On the season so far, the Phantoms have lost 14 games due to suspensions as a team total, and we've had 4 players play all 30 games so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know I asked you guys, so that means you probably looked it up. I was going to ask you, who do you think the 4 people were that played all 30 games?
One we have an interview with.
Yes,
right.
one we will be interviewing here in a little bit.
Yeah, one of them was very surprising, but I'll save him for last. It was Tomas Machu, Miles Gunty, Braden Clark, and the last one was Adam Patilla. Now, I thought for sure the way the season started with him, kind of being an enforcer, honey badger out there, I thought for sure he was going to find himself in trouble with fighting and doing stuff like that, being an enforcer out there. But he's done a good job of away from that.
Yeah, I knew Clark, but yeah.
Get your toe up to the line without going over it.
Right.
Yeah.
In Youngstown, we call that an abate.
Well,
that's who the penalty box is named after. All right. So, wrapping up this game, Colin Wynn stopping 23 of 29 in the loss, dropping him to 6-3, 1-1 on the season with a 3.48 goals against average and an .875 save percentage. Surprisingly enough, well, not surprisingly, but funny enough, this was Colin's first loss in regulation since October 14th.
I did not know that, to be honest with you.
Neither did I.
Yeah,
that's got me a little caught.
Yeah,
off guard.
that was one that jumped out at me, but he's had a shootout loss, an overtime loss, but that's his first regulation loss since all the way back in October. Youngstown in this game, 1 for 4 on the power play. Des Moines was 2 for 5. So yeah, right now Phantom's on a 5-game losing streak. These things are going to happen during the season. I mean, nobody we've talked to sounds anything remotely close to panicked.
Yeah, I mean, again, with the Des Moines game, you were kind of hoping once they got a 4-1 lead that they could seal that up, even under the circumstances. But it seems like, not everything was negative in that game. So,
yeah.
I thought even Colin Wynn giving up 6 goals in the game, I thought he made some tremendous saves. But there was a couple, I just don't understand how they got in on him. And judging by the way he reacted to a couple of them that went in there, I don't think he did either. Or he thought he had it covered. But you look at the stats, 6 goals in, but I thought he played a pretty good game, to be honest with you. Sometimes stats don't tell the entire story what played out. But we've got 5 games, you said, Sam. It's tough pill to swallow, not going winless in your last 5. We're not making excuses because there are no excuses. They want to win games. Once we keep going, we kind of get everybody in line. We kind of get our lines evened out. We get everybody back. Hopefully we stay away from the suspensions. We know the talent's there. We saw how they played in the beginning of the year. We know that they have the ability to be the best team on the ice every single night and get results every single night. They're going to put it together. I'm very, very confident in that. And I think, Sam, that's why the people we're around aren't worried at all, because we know that they've done it. We know that they can do it.
Yeah. All right. So with that, it is now time for the Dump and Chase podcast 3 stars of the week. I've completely forget the order. So whoever's taking number 3.
Number 3, Adam Patilla, 2 assists on the weekend. Leads the team in goals, 5-game point scoring streak, points in, I think, 7 out of his last 9. That's consistency we need at a time like this.
All right, the number 2 star, that goes to Braden Clark. 1 goal, and again, should have had an assist. I know it doesn't work that way, but we're going to give him one in spirit. I mean, I feel like he's been consistent the entire season, and he's continuously ups that as the season goes on.
That would bring us to our first star of the weekend, and that would be Grant Young, who had a goal and assist on the weekend. That brings us total to 3 goals and 10 assists on the season for a total of 13 points. And honestly, I thought during the game, he made one of the best defensive plays I've seen all season, where he was back checking, did a full sail, had both his hands on the hockey stick and poked it away. And he got called for a holding penalty on it. I have no idea why. I reversed it. I went back and I rewound it. I don't know what happened, but I will give him a golf clap on that defensive effort he made that he got a penalty called on him for, though.
Alrighty, so that will do it for the weekend recap. Coming up after the break is this week's edition of Phantom Files with forward Miles Gunty. So keep it here with the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
We're back with the Dump and Chase podcast on the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio. So for this week's edition of Phantom Files, we welcome back the Bethesda, Maryland native and Princeton University commit, who has followed up last season's 2-goal performance in the Clark Cup Finals with 10 goals and 8 assists so far this season. We are talking about number 9, Miles Gunty. Miles, welcome back to the show, and thankfully we get you more than a few minutes this time.
Thank you guys for having me. Really happy to be back.
And we talked about right before we started recording, when we had you on the show the last time, we talked about you had, an all-star game to get to. You were down to like crunch time as far as getting ready for that game. So it was literal. We had you for a few minutes and then you were out the door.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you've already told us, we'll kind of go through this again, but as you said, one of the more crazy weekends you've had in junior hockey, kind of this 4-day adventure out in Des Moines, Iowa. So again, welcome back to Ohio. I know that was a bit of a challenge getting back here.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it was a crazy weekend. I think like I've been this is my 3rd year of like full year of junior hockey. I think this weekend will definitely stand like among the top 2-3 like just junior hockey experiences in my career. I think like being on a sleeper bus for nearly an entire 24-hour day will definitely sinks in, and I'm very happy to be back home.
Now, the game on Friday got canceled, and you told us you got. Again, I'm making you repeat a couple things you told us right before we started.
Yeah, no worries.
The game was postponed on Friday, and then you guys were able to manage to find a way to keep yourself occupied instead of playing a hockey game.
No, yeah, we were lucky that our hotel was in close proximity to a mall, and on Thursday, the day before our game got canceled, we just did a little team bonding, headed over to the mall to watch a movie. And we did notice that there was an arcade there. So I don't want to say lucky, obviously, because it's not a great day when the game gets canceled, but we were lucky that we were able to amuse ourselves for a couple hours at the arcade on Friday. It was a great time. But yeah, it was definitely a memorable experience walking through that negative 20, 30 degree blizzard in Des Moines. But we should have been playing a game. But yeah, again, it was a fun time bonding with the guys.
So what'd you play?
What did we play? There were like, I don't exactly know what it's called, but at those arcades, there are like these coin games where you like hit a button, the coin falls in, and they're like all pushing the coins out. I think it was like Wizard of Oz themed. And I think they had like these playing cards in the game that I think you collected all of them. There were like 15 of them. If you collected all of them, you got like 5,000 tickets. So me, Svoboda, and a couple other guys were like going crazy with this game trying to get the tickets. So there was some competitive energy, even though it was not at the hockey rink. It was in the the Murray Hay Mall of Des Moines, Iowa. So it was a good time.
Who got the tickets?
Yeah, yours truly. I would never pass up those tickets.
You guys did get to play on Saturday. You had a nice little goal there beginning of the second period, kind of one of those drop the one knee in the slot.
Yeah.
Getting the one-timer from Body. Can you talk about that goal a little bit?
Yeah, I know. So we were down to 4D for that game, just coupled with like the Chipotle All-American game and some suspensions. So we took a different approach. It was like instead of doing lines, we would just do these like 3 units of 4 forwards and a D, which is definitely interesting. A lot of guys I think pretty much everybody had never tried that before, me included. And so basically, like obviously our like one defender would just play defense, and whatever winger was farthest away from the battle would kind of take that second defenseman his spot. And I just happened to be that guy at the time. So reset a puck at the top, and then great pass from Ryan Botterill to the slot for a one-timer. It was awesome.
So now when the idea came, I don't really know what you call in hockey, but in soccer, that is kind of called like total soccer. So I kind of called it total hockey with everybody kind of playing every position.
Yeah.
When that idea was floated, was it like, was it Wardo like, hey guys, I have something for you. Just go with me on this. Was it like, what is he talking about? When I first saw the lineup, I was like, what is that? But I understand it now.
No, I mean, yeah, that's what I was going to reference is like the lineup. He usually, when like we find out who's like when our lines are and everything for the game, like it's very clear cut, like just 3 forwards, 3 forwards, 3 forwards, and then like all the D. But we had like, there were 4 forwards on each line. And so we were like, what is going on? And then I think like at that point, like it had already been a pretty crazy trip, like just for the game canceled and us hanging around at this random mall in Iowa. Like this was just another thing to add to the list. At that point, we were all pretty like happy to try it. And I think obviously like we've had a couple not so ideal weekends past couple weeks. And I think this is just a way to get the guys going, like play with a ton of energy and see if we could drum something up. Obviously it wasn't the result we were looking for, but I think like for a lot of reasons, this little mix up, change up was good for us to just see if we kickstart something. And I think, although again, like it wasn't the result we wanted, but there was a lot of positives that came from this game.
How did you know which forward was going to drop back and play defense? Did you play like nose?
I think for my unit at least, it was like me and Bots. We kind of like. So it was me, Bots, Sammy, and Brecken Smith. Like Brecken Smith and Sammy obviously play more center than me and Bots do. So we basically just said like, we'll try and prioritize like playing wing, at least like if we all head back into the D zone at the same time, like we'll get on the walls and then play wing, and you guys will try and prioritize playing D and center. But again, like if it's a situation where they're not back and like we have to take up that role, like we'll just kind of have to talk it out. But there was a lot of talking, a lot of just like reading plays in the moment. But for the most part, me and Bots were playing more wing than not.
Do you feel like kind of maybe being thrown in the fire in that type of situation that maybe that will be a help to you guys in the future, that maybe you have a better understanding of like some of the other guys' roles on the ice? Or
yeah, I mean, definitely. I think like I played a little defense when I was way younger. I think most guys haven't played other positions. Like again, this was a really long time ago for me personally. And so even just getting that taste of like you said, like putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, like we learned a lot about just a lot of the errors that we make and that lead to goals against, or just simple plays where we have to like take care of each other and be responsible and have trust in each other's jobs. And I think there's no other way to play the game than the way that we did, where you could really learn that better. So yeah, like I said, there were a lot of, again, it wasn't a result we wanted, but there were definitely a lot of positives from the weekend.
now, like you mentioned, of course, team's going through a little bit of a rough stretch right now. It doesn't feel like that long ago that you were just this apple-cheeked affiliate coming up and trying to show everybody what you're made of. Now you're just this old grizzled veteran on the roster. I mean, what are you saying to some of the younger guys who maybe going through this stretch right now? Kind of the first time this season that it's happened to you guys.
Yeah, no, like you said, like I also still feel pretty young. Like I'm missing most of the year last year. Like I don't really feel like a grizzled vet yet. I mean, I know it's technically my third year, but I haven't really played all that many junior games yet. So, but again, like I was really fortunate to be a part of a great team last year with unbelievable leaders. And I've learned a lot from those leaders, specifically like Shane LaChance. And I think things that we did last year to get through tough times, like just little things in the locker room, like picking guys up. And I think even like this year, like Andrew Strathman's doing a phenomenal job of this. And like just making sure that the young guys are never getting too low and not even too high. I just think like steering clear of like letting your emotions get the better of you. And I think we got a lot of highs this season, a lot of lows this season, but just making sure you're keeping everything simple on the ice and keeping your emotions clear off the ice are the biggest things.
Now, Miles, we've talked about your line mates, your line in particular quite a bit. You, Ronaldo, and Ramos. You've got 11 points in your last 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have really seemed to start clicking these past 10, 15 games. Is there a reason for that? Just getting comfortable, or what do you think it is?
Yeah, I mean, I love playing with both of those guys. I think me and Sammy have played almost every single game this year together. We were like the three of us were together earlier in the year. I think we were good, but obviously like not having the same production as we are now. And I think just after like playing with each other for a couple months here, like we really started to just read each other's tendencies. We're all kind of just smaller guys who like playing with pace, like getting up the ice, getting in on the forecheck, winning battles. And I think our game, like all three of our games, like we play pretty differently, all three of us, but all of our games like really complement each other. Like Sammy's an unreal playmaker. Ramos is one of the fastest players I've ever played with. Like it's unreal seeing him skate up with the puck. And I think just the three of us do a great job, like picking each other up, like just again, like working really hard on the ice. I think it's just those have been our main focus, like areas of focus the past couple months. And it's been paying off.
I've heard a lot of people mention just how hard you guys work on the ice.
So yeah, no, I think just like keeping it simple. It's obviously like when things aren't going well, just like chipping it in, winning a battle, winning a back check. Like those are little things that even if the puck's not really going your way during a given game, like those are things you can control. And I think like the first game or two where like in this little stretch that we've been having, we just said like, don't even worry about anything else. Like, let's just keep playing the game the right way. And hopefully the points will come and all that stuff. And they have been, but again, like just keeping it simple, playing the game the right way, working hard. Like those are things that we all care about. And I think that's just been a huge part of it.
Well, it probably also helps. You guys are probably the most well-behaved line on the team as well, other than other than the 25 penalty minutes Hunter picked up against Omaha. You guys are like three of like the least penalized players. How have you guys managed that? Kind of with the penalty box parade we've seen, especially over the last month.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I appreciate it. Going back to what you said. Rammer did a great job. Took a pretty bad hit in that game, and love Rammer for sticking up for me there. So I think that's a testament to him and to our team as a whole, like our culture. Like I think a lot of our penalty minutes like relate to this. Like you don't mess with somebody on our team. Like we'll have somebody go kick the shit out of you if you do. And so I think honestly, it's just like the way it's gone down. Like I think a lot of those guys have just had bad hits on their line and they just stick up for each other. I don't really think we have I don't think any of our guys are like badly behaved, if you will. But I think it's more just like, depends on the game, the circumstances that happen, and like what unfolds. And but yeah, I don't know. Like I guess we are the least penalized line, and maybe that'll change. Maybe it won't. Like, I don't know.
No, I mean what you guys are doing is working. So I mean, stick with it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we'll go back through a little bit of history here. So we didn't get to ask you this the last time. How did you get started with the game of hockey?
Yeah. My dad is from Maine, and I mean hockey, like he grew up being a huge like Mariners fan and Black Bear fan, and hence like Black Bear kind of it all started with like the Maine Black Bears. And so I think he just always wanted me and my siblings to like know how to skate. I don't really know why, but I think that was just where it all started with him. And just my brother got into it into instructional when he was younger, and always got to do what your older brother does. So followed shortly thereafter and fell in love with it. So yeah.
Well, then he jumped over to lacrosse, didn't
he? He did. Yeah. He played for a while. I think he found out like late, I don't know, like the very beginning of high school, he was a Fogo, like a face-off guy in lacrosse, and he was pretty good at that. So made the jump over to that. But he always, he still says in his day that he loves hockey like more than lacrosse. And I do think that like my bond with him like grew heavily just over the court, like just playing hockey together, like especially my freshman year in high school. Like we would spend so much time together like during that hockey season. I think that like it did serve like a greater purpose just in like trying to get to junior hockey, trying to get to college. Like it was just, I don't know, something to do with my brother a lot for most of my childhood.
All right. We've been kind of basically any of the players we talked to, we've been asking these questions and trying to come up with clever ways to just work them into the conversation. We've given up on that. So now I'm just going to kind of rapid fire them at you.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Growing up, who was a player or players you looked up to or, kind of nowadays model your game after?
Well, I gotta love Ovechkin. Just like being from DC, like I think he's a one of a kind player. So I think he would be somebody that I just always loved. Obviously, like it's kind of hard to model your game after somebody who has like the best shot of all time. So like I would say in terms of modeling my game after somebody, I don't really have like one player. I think like guys I love watching or a guy that I love watching would be like Sam Reinhart, just like a smaller guy who's kind of got like a hard nose for the game. And I don't know, likes to shoot the puck, likes to make plays. And I don't really have somebody that I specifically model my game after, but generally guys that like are on the smaller side who like shooting the puck, or that's kind of like what I try and play like.
All right. Growing up, did you play any other sports?
I play a little lacrosse, a little baseball afterwards, but I got to tell you, I do not like being out in the sun. So try to stay inside as much as possible. None of those sports really took off for me in any way. But yeah, a little baseball, a little lacrosse.
I asked Serato this. You a golfer?
Oh yeah, a big golfer nowadays. But back then, so my dad played golf in college, and my sister was a big golfer in high school and a little bit in college. But I had a little 5-year hiatus during high school and picking it back up now. But obviously, gotta play golf, junior hockey. So yeah, I love it. It's fun.
I'm asking everybody we're interviewing. Without naming yourself, who do you think the best golfer is on the team?
Oh, well, definitely not myself, but I would say Ryan Botterill. I mean, honestly, this kid is just good at every single sport, every single thing that he does. I don't really understand how it happens, but he's just good at everything, and I think he's probably the best golfer on the team.
Sometimes it's not fair when people are good at everything that they do.
It's not. I mean, he's just gifted at everything. It's awesome. I love it.
All right. What's your favorite sport besides hockey?
I really like watching lacrosse. I mean, a lot of that does come from watching my brother when he played in college. I think it's a fun sport to watch. I mean, I think in terms of playing, probably golf. I mean, it's just super low key, and obviously you can't really hurt your hips playing golf too much. So it's been nice for me.
All right. Okay. What is your favorite movie, and what's the most recent movie you've watched?
My favorite movie is Catch Me If You Can. The most recent movie I watched, I think, is Meet the Parents. We watched that over the weekend. It's a good movie.
Okay. What type of music do you like to listen to?
I'm a big EDM guy, electronic. I don't know if you guys, it might be a lot of guys don't like that music now. I get kind of chirped a lot for it, but that is definitely my most played genre of music.
I feel like anybody we've asked, they'll always say oh, I listen to country, I listen to EDM, which to me just seems like such an odd mixture.
Yeah, I like country. I mean, definitely country music is, I mean, I would make a bet that it's by far and away the most popular genre for hockey players. I've never listened to so much country music in my life since coming out here. But EDM, especially before on game days and stuff like that, when working out, that's just gets me going. I love it.
what's your psych up song when you really want to, get before, you said, before a game or whatever, when you want to get yourself going?
I think for EDM, it kind of changes because a lot of it is just based on the beats that the DJs come up with. So I think I don't really have one, but I do have one it's Barracuda by, I can't remember who it's by, but that's not EDM. That's an old rock song. But that would be a song I listen to before almost every game.
All right. What's the last TV show you streamed?
Entourage. Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay. All right. Favorite pregame meal?
Gotta go with chicken and pasta. Classic.
Okay. Any superstitions?
I have a bunch. I would say just kind of my routine during the day is pretty constant. Nap right after I eat, around 2:00, 1:45, and I kind of do everything in the same order when I get to the rink. It's not one thing. It's just more just the order in which I do stuff to get ready for the game is kind of always the same.
Now, Charlie told us last week he thinks he may be, the most superstitious player on the team. Do you feel like you rival him, or do you think he has you beat?
I don't know a lot about Chuck's superstitions. I think I got to ask you on that one to get the details, but I think I do a lot of kooky things for you. I'm trying to work on it. I think that's one of my goals for this year, not be this anal about the stuff that I do before games, but I don't know. Well, I'll have to circle back with him tomorrow at the reg and see what he does.
It seems to be working of lately, so
All right, who's your favorite road roommate?
I don't think I've had one except for Adam Patel. Actually, yeah, I'll go with Adam Patella. He's the only one who I've had 2 weekends in a row. It was a while ago, but he was definitely a good one.
All right, whether you're at the hotel or you're on the sleeper bus, who's the worst snorer on the team?
I'll go with Ryan Ruchinski. Yeah, sure. I'll like that one if he hears that.
All righty. So we have been talking with Phantoms forward Miles Gunty. Miles, thanks for coming on. Good luck the rest of the way. I mean, most importantly, stay healthy, which you've played all 30 games this season, which that's an accomplishment in and of itself. So
yeah, definitely different than last year. So yeah we'll hopefully keep that going.
Just keep the suspensions to a minimum and everything else. But
exactly.
Yeah, but thank you so much for coming on, bud. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so with that, we're going to step aside for a minute. The weekend preview is coming up next, right here on the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
This is Voice of the Phantoms and friend of the show, Matt Lipsack, and you are listening to the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
Welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast on the home of Phantoms hockey, Western Reserve Radio. So jumping right into the slate of games this weekend, as far as the Eastern Conference is concerned, starting off on Friday, Chicago will be traveling to Plymouth with a game with the U17s. Madison will be heading out to Fargo. Muskegon will be traveling to Omaha, and Cedar Rapids will be heading to Dubuque. Then on Saturday, Chicago kind of getting a NTDP tour. They will be taking on the U18s on Saturday. Madison, again, at Fargo, the second game of that series. Muskegon at Omaha, the second game of that series. Des Moines travels to Dubuque, and Waterloo will travel to Cedar Rapids. We kind of worried about, we only have one game to cover this week. Next week, we're going to have to cover 3. So it is just feast or famine on this show.
Yeah.
When it rains, it pours, and other cliches.
Yes. So yeah, Youngstown will be traveling to Green Bay for 3 games in 3 days. This will be the first 3. This will be the first time we've seen Green Bay this season. The last couple years, usually by now, we've seen them at the American Cup. That wasn't the case this year. So this will be the first time Youngstown and Green Bay faces off. 6 games total. These two teams will play against each other. So 3 games this coming weekend. And then there will be another 3-3 series at the Cavelli Center in April. I'm going to mention this now, and I'll mention this later because it's kind of oddball scheduling. The game on Friday, that'll have an 8:05 start local time, and then Saturday and Sunday, both of those games start at 4:05. So I'm not sure I've ever seen that on a 3-3 before.
No, that 4:05 Saturday is definitely a little weird.
Yeah, usually you'll see the early start on the Sunday game of a 3-game series, but not Saturday and Sunday. So.
Yeah, I wonder when the Green Bay Packers play. I wonder if there's going to be some conflict of interest going on there.
Oh, yeah, because their arena is right across the street from Lambeau.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like somewhere right in that vicinity we usually hear. So hopefully the Phantoms can repeat the success against Green Bay they had last year. Last season, in an 8-game series, Youngstown going 7-0-1 against Green Bay. So as far as this season, well, at least this past weekend, Green Bay beat Madison 1-0 on Saturday. The Friday game between those two teams were postponed. So real 1-0 nail biter there on Saturday between the Green Bay and Madison. So coming into this weekend, Green Bay with a record of 19-7-3-1. That is good for 42 points and second in the Eastern Conference. Youngstown coming into the weekend with a record of 17-9-3-1. That is good for 38 points and fourth in the Eastern Conference. So talking about games in hand, this is not the case with Youngstown and Green Bay. Both of these teams have played 30 games each. So Youngstown trailing Green Bay by 4. So right off the bat, you're hoping for a good weekend out of Youngstown to kind of close that gap because we're not talking about games in hand right now.
No, and I mean, at any point, you're hoping for, to win 3 games. If you can come out with, I think, 5 out of 6, at this point, you're really doing great.
Yeah.
Say at this point in time, it really, to me, it doesn't matter who the Phantoms are playing. Obviously, there's better teams out there than others. But when the Phantoms are playing their game, there's nobody else that can beat them. So it really doesn't matter what's going on. It just matters what version of the Phantoms we get that day.
Well, at least it's other than the 5 Nations tournament coming up, and we're only losing 1 player for that. Other than that, I mean, we should be getting a lot closer to a full complement of a roster moving forward here.
Yeah, I mean, hockey ops willing. Yeah, it is what it is, and I guess going forward, if we can get at least cut down on the suspensions and no major injuries, I think we'll be doing a lot better.
Yeah, this Green Bay team they have some high flying players too. They're led right now in points by former Phantom Blake Beschen. Sorry. He's got 27 points on the year. They got another player, Julian Lutz. He's from Germany. They sent him over this year in the summer. And then their goalie is Adam Gajan. He played for Slovakia in the IIHF tournament.
Yes.
I think he was the first or second goalie selected off the board this past NHL draft. So they have some really high-end talent on that team, but should be 3 good games of hockey to watch.
Yeah. Because talking about the standings right now, Youngstown sitting in 4th, Muskegon in 3rd. Youngstown trailing Muskegon by 2 points, but Youngstown has 3 games in hand there. And then Dubuque right now in 1st. Youngstown trailing Dubuque by 10 points, but Youngstown has 4 games in hand with Dubuque. So, I mean, it's a bit of a gap right now, but again, you got to factor in those games in hand. So if you you're almost talking a virtual tie if you factor those in.
Yeah. So, I mean, going down the stretch, head-to-head games are extremely important, and we have 3 of them.
Yeah, so, I mean, even with, kind of the downturn that Youngstown's on right now, they're not out of anything by a long shot.
No, I mean, those top 2 spots in the East are all up for grab at this point.
Yeah, so back to talking about Green Bay. Currently this season, as far as the entire league is concerned, Green Bay coming in 10th in goals for, 3rd in goals against. They are 5th on the power play and 15th on the penalty kill. Youngstown, 8th in goals for, 5th in goals against, 13th on the power play, 2nd on the penalty kill. The all-time series between these two teams, Youngstown leads that with a record of 34-30, 3-2. Games Youngstown has played in Green Bay, the Phantoms have a record of 16-16, 2-1. So yeah, it boils down to Youngstown is going to be very well rested coming into this, other than having to sit on buses for very long periods of time. Other than that, I feel like only playing 1 game last weekend. Unfortunately, just some guys with suspensions and everything else. I feel like this will be a very well rested team coming into Green Bay this weekend. And
I'm sure a lot of guys eager at this point.
Yes. All right, so the games this weekend, of course, will be available on Flow Hockey. And again, we'll point this out. The game on Friday starting in this area at 8:05 p.m. And the games both on Saturday and Sunday will start at 4:05 local time. And that will do it as far as any viable information we have for this week. After this last break, we'll wrap it all up and look ahead to next week. So keep it here one more time with the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club Fitting Center, and an Odyssey Fitting Studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken. And when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
We're back, and that will do it for this edition of the Dump and Chase podcast. Of course, a huge thanks to Phantoms forward Miles Gunty for coming on the show and talking with us for a few minutes. And of course, to all of you for listening in this week. So next week's episode, we will be recapping 3 games up in Green Bay, and we will be previewing a home and home series with the U17s. So finally, the Phantoms will be coming back to the Covelli Center again. Before they disappear, no, actually, they'll have a home weekend after that. We're coming into this stretch. There's going to be a lot of home games coming up. So you can hear this show every Wednesday at 5 o'clock on Western Reserve Radio, either on westernreserveradio.com, the Live 365 or TuneIn apps, the Western Reserve Radio Facebook and Twitter pages, and the Youngstown Phantoms Facebook page. You can hear this show in its podcast form on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can find all of us on social media. Be sure to follow us there. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Of course, the merch store that is opened up. I just got my hoodie in. Very happy with it. I completely forgot to show you guys, so I'll do that after we're done here. You can find all these links and everything else on the official website of the show. That is dumpandchasepod.com. So, gentlemen, before we get out of here, any final words of wisdom?
No, I mean, we leave words of wisdom up to computers now, so.
I'll reflect those same words.
All right, cue AI outro. As we hang up our jerseys for today, remember that the game of life is always in overtime. Cherish the moments, savor the victories, and learn from the defeats. And just like the camaraderie of a locker room, let's support each other on and off the ice. So until we gather around the podcast mic again, may your slap shots be accurate, your breakaways successful, and your hockey spirit never waver. As the Zamboni makes its final pass, we'll see you the next time here on the Dump and Chase podcast, where the ice is cold, the stories are hot, and the love for the game is everlasting.
There's some fans that probably should heed to those words right there.
They got a little thick there at the end, but doing pretty good.
I swear to God, I put into ChatGPT, write an outro for a hockey podcast in the style of a Full House monologue.
Oh, wow. That was good.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call S&K Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
Ludic Live is your home for high school sports. We have all the scores on our social media platforms throughout the games. Enjoy our timely updates from local area schools year-round. You won't get the consistency and reliability from anyone else. Our number one priority is servicing our fans and getting them live news as it's happening. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Maludic_live. And remember, our fans come first.
It's that time again when all we want to talk about is football. High school, college, and pro football. There's one man set to bring it all to you. It's time for Just Football with Matt Emsch. Matt was a first-time AP all-offensive lineman with the Ursuline Irish and three-time national champion with Youngstown State. And now, here's Matt.
And welcome to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emsch. It has been a little while since I was on. Missed last week. I apologize, everybody. I just wanted to say how happy I am to be back tonight. It is definitely always so nice to get back on the air with everybody. We got a lot to talk about tonight. A lot has gone on in the world of not only college football, but obviously the pros. We had wild card games over the weekend, obviously in the area with both Pittsburgh and especially Browns fans. We had a very disappointing weekend. Coming up in about 3 minutes, we're going to have our own Mark Means from, the now unfortunately done show by all means. I miss it. I know everybody loves Mark and Mark's not done obviously with doing radio and everything, but he's changing up things for a little bit right now with the show, and I'm sure he'll have something else coming on. But in the meantime, we will have Mark here with me, which, I always enjoy not only doing radio on my show with Mark or when he had his, but also calling games with him is one of my favorite things to do with football. Obviously, first and foremost, are my man, my namesake, Matt Lipsack. That's my partner, my regular partner. We get stuff done in the high school season. But it's always a pleasure when I get to call games with Mark. So he'll be here in a couple minutes. And then after that, we'll have our own Jim Craven. He will be calling in and, talking as always about what's going on. And then we're going to have, lastly, Ryan Bonacci, ex-Ursuline graduate. He will be on. He's definitely somebody that's new to the show. He's been on once as a guest, but we're going to get to know a little more about Ryan, about who he is, about what he does, about what his football career was, where he went, and what he played. And then we'll talk also, some football with him. So, pretty soon, like I said, Mr. Mark Means will be calling in here, and we will be getting going and talking about everything that went on. I mean, what do you guys think? What has happened since I was on last time? Last week, again, as I said, I missed, but the week before that, we just crowned a BCS national champion for the first time. And, a lot of people point out, and I can't help but do it as well. They talk in the news about the last time that, we're just going to go right away to the phone lines to Mark Means. Mark, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you. And as I was just starting to talk about on the air, we'll just start it with you. I missed last week, but so we have a ton to address. We'll start off with something I know that, neither you or I or a lot of our listeners from this area weren't too crazy about, but we have to address it. A new national champion was crowned in the BCS.
Yeah, it's one of those where, I guess, unfortunately, you got to give them credit for the job that they were able to do to win the national championship. And two of their best players have already declared for their draft, and who knows where the head coach is going. So good for them. They won their championship. Now they can go back to being terrible.
Exactly. I agree. I always talk about, I'm not only a Buckeyes fan, but, who I also am a huge Notre Dame Irish fan, like your wife. So, everyone always says to me, how can you be both? Well, I am. And that makes me doubly hate that team from up north. But as you just said, we got to give them credit where credit is due. When we were picking who we thought was going to win in the national championship, I got to bring back up what I said to you and on my show as well. I've been saying this since the 3/4 mark of that season, was that Michigan had shown that they were the most balanced team in the country. And I said I would not be surprised if they ran the gamut and just took care of business, and they did. They have a great coach, and you brought up a good point. A lot of talk going on right now about Coach Harbaugh and about what he's going to be doing. He is taking head coaching interviews with different teams. He took a Falcons interview, and aside from that, he also took an interview with the Patriots. What are your thoughts on that?
And I hear he's also supposed to interview with the Chargers at some point soon. So, he basically said if he signed a contract extension, he wanted immunity from being punished for anything that happened, the last couple of years that they're being investigated for, which is an absolute joke. He was the head coach at the time, and we've heard multiple head coaches, say, I didn't know anything about it, like Sean Miller at Arizona, and I know that was basketball. But you know what? I'm sorry. When you're the head coach, the buck stops with you. And if there's punishment to be dealt out, he deserves to get it. And if he wants to run to the NFL to get away from it, he can do that too.
I agree. I can't help but go back to, one of the greatest coaches in college football history and my ex-coach, Jim Tressel, when, tattoo gate, so to speak, went on, and something he wasn't even really involved in happened, and he ended up getting really smacked in the face by the NCAA. And I have to bring this up as well. The thing I still just can't stomach or can't believe it really was let go was Butch Davis, who at the time was involved in one of the biggest cheating scandals for players in classes for history of the NCAA. What happened the following year? Well, he just moved to another program and was coaching. Jim Tressel didn't end up coaching. He was banned for 5 years and still not coaching anymore. And, you take somebody who's won a ton of games. Of course, he was at Ohio State doing a great job with Michigan and won a national championship, been to a couple, and they really made a point to take him behind the woodshed. How can they ignore this?
You know what? Well, first off, I think today is actually the anniversary of the day Ohio State hired Coach Tressel.
Oh,
so there's
wow.
that.
Okay.
Butch Davis, I believe when he got in all that trouble, he left Miami and went to North Carolina, I want to say.
Right. Yes.
And they acted like nothing was wrong and everything was fine. So it is interesting sometimes who you are or who you coach for or have coached for. But I mean, a lot of the stuff allegedly is, recruiting violations during COVID. Not only that, but the cheating scandal mixed in with everything at Michigan. And so, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I honestly think he's going to take an NFL job, and then we will see, who steps in, what Michigan man they find to take over that job.
And it'll be, ironic if he leaves, because that'll be the second time that he was really doing fabulous. He was with Stanford. He really made that a wow program, a program that was winning huge games, doing phenomenal things in the NCAA. And he left and he went to San Francisco. What did he do with San Francisco? Oh, he just went to the Super Bowl. So, touching just real quick, regardless that he's the Michigan head coach at the moment, the family, you always look at certain families whose DNA and genetics, flow through the NFL. You have, the Matthews clan and all, but you look at the Harbaughs. I mean, wow, from dad on down, his brother being with the Baltimore Ravens, winning multiple Super Bowls, just amazing what goes through that family.
Yeah, I mean, and the three boys all definitely, look like dad, or the two boys, look like dad for sure. And you mentioned it, dad was a hell of a coach too at Delaware, among other places.
Yeah, he did great at Delaware, and then he won. Didn't he win? He won a 1AA national championship. He was with, oh geez, I forget the team he was with. Let me. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm real quick looking where he was. It was, as I look real quick.
I'm trying to think. I can't even remember what program he was with, but he's won at pretty much every level.
Western Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, so he won a 1AA national title with Western Kentucky. So, I really laughed at the table of the Harbaughs. He doesn't have to sit at the little kids table anymore. Dad have an FCS or 1AA national championship, and his brother getting 2 Super Bowl championships, and then now Jim has the natty. So it will definitely be a huge blow to Michigan if he leaves. It will definitely be a good thing for Ohio State and Notre Dame if he does leave. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Jumping real quick over another possibly college-connected coach, you have Mike Vrabel, who just left the Titans. A lot of talk about maybe an Ohio State connection.
I think that will be interesting because, I mean, obviously, the Ohio State connection is there. The big thing will be, does he want to take a year off from coaching? Ohio State named their new athletic director today, replacing Gene Smith. He's coming from Texas A&M, will take over here in a couple of months. And, of course, he had nothing but glowing praise for Ryan Day, which I have too. But I will say this is the year he is on the hot seat.
Yeah, I agree. Keep that thought, Mark. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come right back to you. You're listening to Just Football. I'm Matt Amsch. We're here with Mark Means.
Cryptid Creatures. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, it's Brian. Join me and my co-host Todd as we investigate those things that go bump in the night. We'll talk to real people who have had real face-to-face encounters.
There's two of them across the creek at the big rocks.
With cryptid beings. From Bigfoot to aliens to even demons. By the end, you'll be asking, do I believe? Cryptid Creatures. Find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emsch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
Do you crave mysteries? Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Then summon your courage and plunge into the deep, dark abyss of what lurks beneath. A YouTube channel that dives into the unexplained, the supernatural, eyewitness reports, and more. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Simply search What Lurks Beneath on YouTube, if you think you're brave enough.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia1 network.
And welcome back to Just Football. Again, I'm your host, Matt Emsch. We got Mark Means on the line. Before the break, Mark, we're just talking about, Ryan Day definitely being on the hot seat at Ohio State. 3 straight losses to Michigan. And oh, by the way, Michigan just won the national championship and another Big Ten title. Thinking about Mike Vrabel, if the situation arose where Mike Vrabel did end up becoming the next coach at Ohio State, what do you think about that fit?
You know what? I have always been from the standpoint where I would prefer an offensive-minded head coach. And that is not Mike Vrabel. Look at the offenses that have been with the Titans the last few years. It's going to be interesting because, like I said, Day's on the hot seat. They lose the last 2 games of the last 2 seasons. No Big Ten championship games the last 2 years. But if you look at the number of players that returned, the players that they brought in through the portal, the names that are around potentially now landing at Ohio State, either through Washington or Alabama, with those players becoming available. If they put this roster together the way it looks, it's put up or shut up time for Ryan Day.
I agree. And I'm glad you brought up the portal and the players coming through. What I've been blown away touching on, and we'll in a second talk about, just some coach out there that just left some school named Alabama, is what's blown me away is how many players from Alabama who have left and gone to Florida State. That is the one I'm kind of been scratching my head about.
It's been interesting because there was a lot of speculation that they were Florida State was going to lose their coach to Alabama when Saban retired out of the blue. And, they
What do basketball, choir, drama club?
They re-up because Yeah, his record is eye-popping. He had a couple of great years, but he also wasn't able to keep any of the recruits in the class of 24 home. They've lost a few already to the portal. They lost a bunch from the class of 23 to the portal. There's speculation about a safety and a fantastic left tackle being available, and I expect Ohio State to go aggressively after him if he is available. He started as a freshman this year for Alabama, so that's a pretty good football player.
Yeah, I agree. And I do. And there's been obviously a ton of talk all over ESPN, Sports Illustrated, USA Today. Take your pick about who has spoken about Paul Feinbaum. I mean, just him obviously getting the gut punch with Nick Saban retiring. And so many talking about Ohio State is going to get such huge recruits, and they should. You have an automatic situation where now with Nick Saban leaving, you have Georgia definitely jumping in that spot of the SEC of being that solo team now, and the team that you're definitely going to be watching being a regular in the BCS playoffs. Now, granted, you have 12 more teams. It's going to definitely throw a new ring into things, and it's going to be interesting to see who is able to do it now that we have more of a regular type of playoff system. But, with Ohio State getting all of those new recruits, I agree with you, Mark. They better put up or shut up. And if Ryan Day doesn't, after getting, more recruits and portal guys, and they take care of the quarterback situation, he will definitely, if he makes it through this Vrabel situation, he will definitely be on a worse hot seat. But, looking at, just if you wanted to give a real quick, just little statement about your thoughts on Nick Saban leaving.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. A few days before that, during the playoffs, my wife and I were actually talking about it, and I looked it up. And had they won the national championship at 72, he would have been the oldest head coach ever to win a national championship. Wow. And according to some of the reports, people were saying, can you guarantee you're going to be here for 2 years? Can you guarantee you're going to be here for my 4 years or my 3 years here or 5 years? And, when according to reports, when he realized he couldn't guarantee those things, that it was time to move on. And, I credit Alabama for being aggressive, going after the guy they wanted and getting it done in less than a week.
Yeah, I agree. You have a program like that, you think about how good those programs, that program has done. I mean, only the greatest college football coach in history. No one can even touch him. It's just amazing. Just like in the NFL, Coach Belichick is untouchable. Same thing with Coach Saban. It's definitely going to have to be worked on to chip away at his record. And, aside from Georgia being the team to beat now, if Ohio State, especially if Harbaugh leaves, Michigan will definitely drop out of contention, in my opinion. Ohio State's going to have to step it up, and they could be one of the only programs that are going to be able to fight that Georgia situation. Slipping out of the BCS, going into the FCS real quick. We didn't mention, we had South Dakota State ending up winning a back-to-back national championship real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what an addition that program has been to, the conference that YSU is in. They were clearly the best FCS conference in the country, and by making some additions, they've taken that to a whole nother level. And that's a loaded team. And, I like, and we saw yesterday, YSU announced, they brought in 14 transfers yesterday, officially announced that are enrolled. You got guys coming from Cincinnati. You have a guy coming from Penn State, a couple kids from Marshall. And, I like the fact that you're bringing two of your fellow Ursuline alumni back home.
Yes. And you know what? You literally just took my next statement from me. I was going to say exactly what you just did. Bring up YSU. That's why I wanted to get into the FCS conversation. 14 players And finishing up, as you just said, you have Brady Shannon, the just Mr. Everything quarterback and son of Dan Reardon, head coach of Ursuline. Matthew Reardon, who was at Miami of Ohio. You had Brady Shannon, who was playing baseball, actually, at Central Florida. He was before that at Virginia Tech as a quarterback, or he had moved to tight end, but he switched to baseball because he's incredible. Now flipping the switch, going back to football, ending up at YSU. Both of those guys were on the last team to go to a state championship for Ursuline. Same thing with Coach Phillips. You got all these players that they're getting from the portal and some really excellent players. My opinion, Brady Shannon going to walk into a starting position. He should. If Coach Phillips doesn't make some more noise, he's another guy that'll be on the hot seat.
I think Bo Brungard's going to give him a battle for that job at the quarterback spot. But, Brady Shannon, big, powerful, big arm. And I like the additions. I like bringing guys home that are looking to play and looking to, play in front of friends and family. You look at it, it's not like it was when you were there under Coach Tressel, where it was, the state of Youngstown, as Coach liked to say. But you bring these two Ursuline guys home. You sign Antoine Gardner out of Niles, who plays right across the street from me. And I think that is a big move, too. I mean, I don't know how much he plays this year, but you get him in the weight room, you get him going. He could be a big back for the Penguins in many years to come.
I agree. It was a huge grab for him. And, I have to talk to some other players out of the area that, may be heading to YSU as preferred walk-ons. But we'll find out about that. Ian Erb, somebody who has been talking to Coach Phillips the last few weeks from Mineral Ridge, who is just an amazing athlete, 6'1", 225 pounds. I think he runs like a 4.6 40, straight A student. It would be an honor for YSU to have a player like Ian Erb on there. The guy can play both sides of the ball and special teams. You saw him play. I think if he does get that preferred walk on, he does it. That's somebody that will also get a scholarship in a year. He'll earn one. You'll hear his name in the near future. I agree with you. If you redshirt Gardner, get him bigger unless they need him. You never know. He could end up getting playing time as a freshman, but you're seeing what Phillips said he wanted to do. He is a Tressel guy. He was a student coach there when I played, and he coaches through the eyes, in a manner of speaking, and the mindset of Jim Tressel. And what did Coach Tressel do? He recruited so heavily out of the state of Youngstown, and that is something that will help them tremendously. I wanted to bring up real quick, also flipping into the NFL. We got to touch on the wild card games. Before I get into our two teams, just got to say how happy I was to see that Dallas was taken down by the Green Bay Packers. I despise Dallas. Jumping in, my team first, will touch on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I did not expect much out of them. They didn't do too well in the first round.
You know what? Neither one of our teams did real well. The only thing that kind of shocked me was just how fast a lot of people went from being on the Joe Flacco bandwagon to knocking the bandwagon over after the game. Made one really bad decision on the second interception. The first one, I think he was trying to throw away and just didn't get enough on it. But, if it wasn't for Flacco, they wouldn't have even been in the playoffs.
I 100% agree, and that's exactly where I was going after we mentioned your Browns. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a Browns hater. Unless we're playing you guys, I really wish the Browns the best. I'm not one of those Steeler fans that hates them. I like the Browns if we're not playing, and I really had high hopes for something special to happen for either of our teams. I definitely thought you guys would go farther than round one, and how ironic it'll be, because I really don't believe that the Texans will make it to the Super Bowl. It could happen, but
they're not getting past Baltimore this week.
It most likely won't happen. But touching on what you just said, I was blown away as well about the Joe Flacco situation. The guy did a great job. That's somebody who I would want to keep there for next season.
They're paying Deshaun Watson so much money, and there's no way to get out of that contract right now. So at best, you may bring Flacco back as a backup, but just based on the finances of it, I don't think there's any chance Flacco's the starter next year.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame. I really think he was a great plug-in for that team. The guy's won a Super Bowl before. He's done a great job. And, since we're getting ready to leave, what I want to do, Mark, is touch on what is your opinion if you could pick right now the 4 teams that will be playing in the 2 conference championships. Who would you pick right now?
Well, first I'm going to shock you, and I'm going to say I like the Packers over the 49ers this weekend.
Okay.
2 weeks off for a lot of their regulars. I've never been a fan of that. Love is on fire right now. So I'll take the Packers in that game. I'll take the Lions over the Bucks. That game, give me Baltimore over the Texans. And who am I leaving out of the other AFC matchup?
You got Kansas City, and you also have who is left. Oh boy, hold on a second. Let's grab this real quick.
Buffalo.
That's
Kansas
right.
City and Buffalo. I like Buffalo at home. If they play that game, there's another big storm system coming through. They actually had to cancel an NHL game scheduled for in Buffalo tonight because of a state of emergency for weather. So we'll see if that game when it gets played.
You know what? I agree with you, Mark. The only difference I'm going to go, I think the 49ers in a close one are going to beat the Packers. I won't be surprised if the Packers win, though. I agree with you. I'm not a fan of that week off either. It really hurts those teams. I think this is the year for Buffalo. I think if the Lions play the Packers, I think the Lions have a great shot. How awesome would that be if they could make it to the bowl? I'm not so sure they will, but I do think they obviously have a great chance. In the AFC, I really do think the Bills and the Chiefs playing, I think the Bills are a little bit better. Shooting to a Super Bowl real quick, who do you have in the Super Bowl and who do you have winning if you could pick it?
You know what? Because of me picking the upset, I'll take the Packers and I'll take the Bills.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mark, very much for being here. It was a blast as always, and we'll talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to head to commercial. We'll be right back, everybody.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emsch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
Do you crave mysteries? Are you fascinated by the unexplained? Then summon your courage and plunge into the deep, dark abyss of what lurks beneath. A YouTube channel that dives into the unexplained, the supernatural, eyewitness reports, and more. The real question is, can you handle the truth? Simply search What Lurks Beneath on YouTube, if you think you're brave enough.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMeda1 network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am your host, Matt Empsch. We are going to go right back to the lines with our own Jim Craven. Mr. Craven, sir, how are you doing today?
Well, it's a little nippy. I'm a little cold, trying to thaw out in the new furnace area of the Gessler Propane Studio. So pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. We are definitely suffering from the cold. I can feel it, man. I am not moving around too well. Definitely something, that you got to take into consideration as well with games that are going to be played this week in the NFL. We'll jump right in where we left off before the break. Had some games this past week. Let's start with your Cleveland Browns.
Let's not. Just a complete letdown, and it's disappointing. I mean, you really don't even have an excuse for that. For that performance, I had such a hot run, and I think maybe that week off didn't do them as well as maybe most had hoped. Joe Flacco only played 5-6 games, whatever it was. So to have that week off and everything, it helped them to get a little bit healthy. And I think they tried to force those healthy guys back into those positions, hoping they would perform as they did before the injuries. Certainly that didn't happen. And I was very fortunate to have something distract me during that game so that I wasn't as depressed as I could have been.
Yeah, I was actually disappointed. Again, I'll say what I said with Mark Means is, being a Steeler fan, first and foremost, I didn't expect much from the Steelers. It wasn't a surprise to me that they lost, in my opinion, to the Bills, who I think are going to not only go to the AFC Championship game, but I think they're better than the Chiefs this year. I think that they have a great shot at going to the Super Bowl. So I didn't expect the Steelers to go past. I had hopes, that maybe they could go on a run, and you never know what's going to happen. You got to play the games, but I really had, a lot of feelings of hope for the Browns as well, and was completely shocked by that score. I know, being a fan of them yourself, you were. What are your thoughts, Jim, on the situation with Joe Flacco?
You finally get something in there. They've been back since 1999. You have just floundered at that position. The best you had was Baker Mayfield, who I thought did a decent job. He played injured. He liked being in the city. They gave up on him. They sent him on his way. With Deshaun Watson, obviously, by now we could tell, he was overpaid, and he has certainly underperformed. So for the fan base, you bring a guy in like Joe Flacco. You didn't expect much out of him because he's being signed. You were hoping he wouldn't have to play. But here comes this guy who's now the adult in the room. Finally, the guy they've been looking for. Every quality that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry and crew could have wanted.
Yep.
And you fed that to the fan base, and they loved it, and they chanted his name. And then after the game, I got the impression from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski that it was a handshake and a hug, and hey, thanks, Joe, for coming. And he's going to not now be involved. And Deshaun Watson's going to be right back to where they wanted him to be. And I don't know how you feed that to the fan base. You got a taste of what it was like to have that adult in the room, and now we're going to maybe regress. And it's going to be a tough pill for the Browns fan base to swallow.
I completely agree with you on every single point that you said. You got a guy that was there. He was with a franchise that is one of the best ones in the NFL, won multiple Super Bowls at that franchise. Joe has one under his belt. Just an incredible player, a winner at not only the FCS level, but the NFL, which is the hardest to do. The guy demands respect just by walking in the room, and gave them, in my opinion, automatic lift to not only the team, but the fan base, as you brought up. And I agree. I think they're going to regress as well. I don't think that this is a smart decision on the part of the Browns, but when has the Browns ever really been, geniuses in the quarterback area?
Well, and I think you're right there. I mean, but the fact of the matter is, you look at the roster. Right now, they've had depth. They were 11-6 when they finally finished it, double-digit wins. They are there with so many injuries. Their defense did well. There's signs of life there. And then you're locked into this contract with Deshaun Watson that nobody in the NFL is going to pick up. You're going to eat so much of that contract if you trade him or you release him, that you almost have to force feed him to the fan base. And again, if they could have held on to Flacco for a year or two, drafted somebody in his likeness, and get him in the Stefanski's system, I think they would have been so much better off. But, again, like you said, it's been years of just this futility of horrible either scouting or choices. And I think that's certainly what separates Cleveland from Pittsburgh, just based on the scouting aspect of it.
I agree, and it's sad to see. It really is, and I hope for all the Browns fans, that, and it makes the rivalry better too for the Steelers having the Browns be a better team. It makes our conference better, which makes all the teams better when they hit the playoffs. Just like we always talk about strength of schedule with high school and college, same thing for the NFL. You have your conference, every team is stronger and better. What's that going to do if any of those teams, or when those teams make it to the postseason? Well, they're going to play better. They're going to go farther. So I agree. Let's jump to another team that has been a positive surprise, the Detroit Lions.
I don't know how you cannot be happy for Dan Campbell and that organization. And keep in mind, Dan Campbell was on that 0-16 team back in 06, 07. So to take that team from, well, let's face it, a worse situation than the Browns even had, and to be where they are, and not only be there, but you've got all of Detroit believing. That stadium was electric the other night. It was a fantastic atmosphere. And you know what? That comes from leadership. It trickles down. You put Dan Campbell in there. I don't know if he's the smartest football guy in the world. I don't know that. He may be, but I'll tell you, he's somebody that they're going to follow through hellfire and brimstone. And that really has changed the attitude up there. They are a fun team. It's a fun city right now to watch.
It really is. And I'll be honest, that's, if I could pick, if I had to pick an NFC team that I would honestly love to see win the Super Bowl, it 100% would be Detroit. That's the team that for the NFC I want personally. I would love to see the Bills do it. I really do believe they're the best team besides the Baltimore Ravens. If the Ravens, fall apart and lose, then and I had said I think the Bills are better than the Chiefs. I do believe that. Now, obviously, I had completely left out of the recipe, so to speak, of the Ravens too. So I got to remember that they're still in it, and they're just definitely, in my opinion, Ravens and Bills are the two best. I would like to see the Bills finally get that monkey off their back if Detroit doesn't do it, and finally get their Super Bowl. But touching on the situation that me and Mark just discussed, if you could pick your four teams in their respective conferences that you think are going to end up in the championship games, who would you pick?
Well, after seeing what Green Bay did the other night in Dallas, a week ago I would have said San Francisco is going to knock Green Bay off. I don't believe that anymore. They went on the road, they blocked everything out, and they played phenomenally. Yep. So I can see a Green Bay Detroit NFC Championship game there. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility for Detroit to be playing in that Super Bowl. Yep. I can see it, and San Francisco, I think Brock Purdy's kind of in a struggling point right now, and that might be their Achilles. But other than that, Green Bay has just been on top of everything, and they're going to play in decent weather. And I just, if that's the way Green Bay is going to handle things, they're going to go a long way.
Yeah, I agree. They took care of one of the teams I hate. Well, that's the team I hate the most in the NFL is the Dallas Cowboys, and I absolutely loved seeing them take care of business. They actually are 1-1 against the Packers, so that would definitely be a great game. Looking at the AFC, who would you pick right now?
Well, I think that the magic in Kansas City is pretty much needed for this year. You can see a lot of different body language now where Travis Kelce's frustrated, Patrick Mahomes is frustrated, and I don't know how else to describe this other than they're throwing tantrums when things don't go their way. And this is where they're finding out that, these hard times are going to reveal your character. And I'm a little concerned about that. So I see Buffalo knocking off Kansas City. And as much as you'd like to see CJ Stroud succeed, I think that Baltimore is just solid from top to bottom on that roster. So we're probably looking at a Baltimore and Buffalo AFC championship. Neither team will have far to go on that one.
Before we leave for the break, if you could pick your Super Bowl contenders, who would they be right now?
Yeah, I see Baltimore and Green Bay. So
okay,
that's a tough one.
I agree. It'll be fun to see. Jim, thank you for being here. We'll talk to you next time. Be right back, everybody.
Are you tired of settling for mediocre wings at sky-high prices? Belleria Niles has some of the best wing prices in Trumbull County, with 12 wings for $10 with over 15 flavors to choose from. Mention this show, Just Football with Matt Emsch, with your order and receive a free cheese puff until January 31st. Belleria at 602 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. 330-544-FOOD. That's 330-544-FOOD. Belleria, we sell taste one bite at a time.
In the Valley, football is king, and the Mahoning Valley Federals are looking to build the 2024 roster with talent forged in this area to compete for a Tri-Point Football League championship. If you're 18 and older and looking to return to the gridiron, call General Manager John Galbraith at 330-540-1099 or visit the team on Facebook at Mahoning Valley Federals Developmental Football. The Mahoning Valley Federals, honoring the football tradition in the Valley.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call SNK Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
SNK, painting your house today.
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to City View Sportscast, part of the iMedia1 network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emsch. As we're waiting for Ryan Bonacci to call in, we are going to have somebody else call in for a second if he can get my message real quick. But as I had talked about earlier, Ryan Bonacci is a well-known athlete from the area of Youngstown. And we're going to discuss some things about who he is and what he did when he played the game and, his opinion on some of the things. So first, we're going to go right to the lines. We have Nick Krakem of Backyard Creations on the phone. Nick, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Not too bad.
Good. So, we have you. You're one of our ad sponsors. And why don't you real quick let everybody know the name of your business and what you do?
Yeah, so I run Creations Backyard. I run it out in Niles, Ohio, and I grow microgreens, which Microgreens are basically baby vegetables that are grown for like 10 to 14 days. And they're some of the most nutritious food you can possibly eat.
And I personally love the microgreens. I actually need to get some more. Sunflower are my favorite. I absolutely adore them. And I'm telling everybody, this is not just, just play love on the air for Nick and his business. I put it on pizza from every kind of food you could imagine, sandwiches, hot dogs, sausages, hamburgers, no matter what. If I have them, they go on that kind of food. It's really amazing. Excellent for athletes as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely. The sunflower and the pea are loaded with protein. Just getting your nutrition. It's the easy way to get your nutrition. You don't have to eat a whole giant salad every day. You can just have a big handful of microgreens and get plenty of nutrients.
Yeah. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find your products, and also you deliver, right?
Yes, I deliver. You can do curbside pickup right at my house, whatever's most convenient for you. But the website's creationsbackyard.com. You can go there. You can place an order right on the website. I do free delivery if you order over $20 worth. And it's always free to pick up at my door. So.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. And we're gonna check in every week with you, Nick, and we're gonna talk about it next week. What we'll do is we'll talk about more in depth about what these products can do specifically for athletes. I want to thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, brother. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you next time. That was Nick from Backyard Creations, one of our sponsors on the air. Anybody that's listening, if you have a business or as you've heard some of our commercials, you have a YouTube channel, you can contact me on Facebook. You can contact me or anybody at Western Reserve Radio. If you go to westernreserveradio.com and you look at talent and staff, there are numbers there you can call, and you can get a ad sponsorship. There are many different levels and prices. So hopefully, if you want anything, you could call in and you can get that. We are trying to get a hold of Mr. Bonacci. So let's see if we got him on the line. Ryan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how are you doing? How's everything going tonight? Staying warm?
As warm as you can in Northeast Ohio.
Absolutely. So, hey, real quick, not real quick. What I wanted to do is introduce you to everybody. Could you let everybody know, where you're from, what city you grew up in, where you went to high school and college?
Yeah, sure. Ryan Bonacci, grew up here in Youngstown, Ohio, on the greater north side of Youngstown.
Yes, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an Ursuline High School graduate, and I played my college football at Gannon University, small Division II school up in the Erie, PA.
And you went? Did you go to St. Ed's too?
No, I'm a St. Anthony's kid. Briar Hill, true and true.
Okay, that's all right. When I went to St. Ed's, did you have Northeast Catholic when you played there?
I did. We were Northeast Catholic Tar Heels, and then my 8th grade year, we were the Northeast Catholic Irish.
Okay, so we were the Tar Heels when my 7th grade year, we were just St. Ed's. My 8th grade year is when St. Edward's joined with St. Anthony's and Immaculate Conception and became Northeast Catholic, and we were untouchable, undefeated multiple times through the years. And I don't even know how long it went undefeated there, but I know when we joined with the other two schools, they had been coming off a couple of years of undefeated, winning the championship, and we did that my 8th grade year. What positions did you play?
I played offensive defense tackle in grade school. When I got to high school, I played offensive tackle. And then when I got to college, I played tackle, guard, and center.
And I love it. Obviously, me being an ex-Pig and tackle specifically through my entire life, grade school, high school, and college at Youngstown State, I played tackle defense both ways in grade school and high school. But when I was at YSU, I played open tackle. So definitely a lot of love for the linemen. Touching on going right to a group of linemen, that group of linemen at Michigan who just won the national championship. What are your thoughts on that group?
Well, yeah, I think it's a very talented group with a very good offensive line coach. When you take a look at some of the blocking schemes they have and their ability to, really wear a team down as the game goes on, and then, late third quarter, the entire fourth quarter, just able to physically impose their will on another team. I'm sure you could probably agree, being a former lineman, that when you get to physically drive somebody back and you can see the, surrender in their face, knowing that they can't stop it, that's always a great thing. But some of the blocking schemes that they have, especially the way they incorporate, their wing backs and tight ends into some of those counters. I think that offensive line really won that game for them. And often not, it's that offensive line is usually the unsung hero of a football victory. But without those linemen, the running back and the quarterbacks can't do what they do, and the receivers can't catch the ball if the quarterbacks don't have time to throw it. So,
well put.
A lot of kudos to Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put. Well said. The unsung heroes of it when linemen are given some love. I was lucky enough. I'm going to just bring this up so I can plug an award that I had started when I was at Ursuline. I got a little love winning the Mack Truck Award, which went to the best lineman out of the area. And I started, since the Mack Truck Award doesn't exist anymore, it's called the Beast Lineman of the Year Award. It is going to, this year, a kid at Mineral Ridge won it, Zach Stacy. Me and Matt Lipsack followed Mineral Ridge. So out of all the teams that we watched Mineral Ridge play, we watched both sides of the ball, both teams, and Zach Stacy was the fourth winner of that award. We're going to open it up next year. We're going to have more teams. So with all the different groups we have 3 crews at Western Reserve Radio. We're going to have all 3 crews keep their eyes on the linemen that they watch all season long. We're going to come together at the end of the year, and we're going to decide on one guy. So I'm shooting for getting that award back and making it bigger, hopefully to get a scholarship for it in the future. But I agree with you. The one of the greatest, most satisfying things about being an offensive lineman, especially one that dominates the line itself, is what you brought up about seeing that the hands go on the shoulders, the head's looking at the ground and maybe going on a knee or bent over. You just know you got them. And, Coach Harbaugh talked a lot about that group, about all 5 of them specifically. He believes they will all go to the NFL. So again, yeah, we're not too excited about Michigan winning it, but they were the best team in the country. So again, like repeating what you said, kudos to the Michigan Wolverines. They brought up the last time they won the national championship was 97. Well, actually, they had to split it with Nebraska. So actually, it's been longer than that. Let's jump real quick since we're coming to the end of the show here. We have 5 minutes left. Jumping into Nick Saban retiring. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Coach Saban's had, no one's going to argue with the historic career that he's had. And what he's accomplished for college football, and what he's done for the respective schools where he's coached. I think it's not a surprise. It's not a shock. And this is just, my humble opinion on it. But I think Coach Saban is getting out while he can. I see Alabama as a team that is not in the future going to continue on to do well. Don't get me wrong. Great program, good kids, phenomenal athletes that come out of that school. But I think what you're seeing now is a lot of teams can be competitive, not just in terms of a national champion, but that NIL money. So, I don't think Alabama's going to have the dominance that it once had. But football is such a weird and great sport because it's like a carousel. Teams get to stay dominant in the top 5 spots. and then those teams eventually rotate. And, the last 2 seasons, when you look at the top 25, you're seeing more and more of those teams that barely crack the top 50. And, the last 10 years slowly starting to creep up into those top 25s. And I think it's a great thing for the competitiveness of college football. I'm not necessarily a fan of the transfer portal, but no, I think those teams and athletes around the country are seeing that they can go to these, not Power 5 schools and contribute and make a difference and propel their school into the national spotlight. So I think Nick's getting out, because he probably sees the writing on the wall. Great coach, not taking anything away from him, but I'm sure he probably knows that it's time to bow out while he can and still be on top.
I agree. I wanted your quick, just in like a minute. What's your opinion on now we have 12 teams entering the playoff?
I think it's something that's been done a long time ago.
Yep.
Now I say that as a jaded Notre Dame fan who, always falls short towards the end of the season and ends up, in that 8, 9 spot, 10 spot. But, I think, Division 3, Division 2, the subdivision, 1AA, as I still remember it, they've been doing it for years. There's no reason why Division 1 can't do it other than, the big money. So I'm interested to see who are the other teams that are going to absorb, these additional bowl games now. I highly doubt we'll see the Pop-Tart Bowl as a national championship, playoff game.
Agreed.
But it'll be interesting to see who these companies are that are able to sneak in and get that big money in. But I think it's a great thing for college football. I hope they continue to look at it and, expand even more. I think that gives some other teams that should have had a chance to play in the national championship game an opportunity to see, what it's really like and what you need to compete at a high level for a national championship in college football.
I 100% agree with you. It's about time that we have multiple teams in there to compete. And I don't think Georgia is just going to automatically.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge, a part of the Sports Map Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio.
NFL divisional round action this Sunday. The Bills are home against the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. The Chiefs are a rare underdog heading into the matchup. Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
It's nice that we don't have to travel. I think that's big, and then to play in front of our fans.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio.
The Bills and Chiefs are scheduled to play this Sunday afternoon in Orchard Park. NFL divisional round playoff action. The Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champs. A snowstorm in the Buffalo region could disrupt the Bills' practice plans. Head coach Sean McDermott is assessing his options. He says the team for now is still scheduled to practice today and tomorrow. Buffalo coming off a 31-17 win over Pittsburgh Monday. The game postponed from Sunday due to snow.
All right, let me start off by thanking some people that I think we need to thank here in terms of the effort that it took to get us into the stadium today and to get people here and here safely. I thought it was an admirable effort by everyone involved to get this game ready to be played in the streets, sidewalks, the roads, even getting here.
For lightning fast updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of North America's most popular sports apps. That's the Sports Flash. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling while telling a customer to leave the room, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating and, of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list, seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The year was 1907. The Cubs won the World Series and the Ford Model R hit the assembly line. While here in Ohio, school administrators came together to form the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One thing that hasn't changed since 1907 is the dedication of the OHSAA to education-based athletics in Ohio. School sports teach responsibility, sportsmanship, and life lessons that stay with students long after their playing days are over. The OHSAA seeks to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
You know, whichever side has the ball the most, or maybe even just last, coming out on top.
We're talking once again to Sam Munson from Pro Football Focus. You can follow him on Twitter at PFF_Sam. There was a tweet that I saw from Todd Furman earlier today looking at Lamar Jackson from regular season to the playoffs. And he said Lamar Jackson has the 5th largest passer rating decrease from the regular season to the playoffs in NFL history, Sam. What have you guys seen from playoffs, regular season to playoffs for Lamar? And does that worry you about this Ravens team, whether it be this weekend or moving forward regarding the Baltimore Ravens?
No, not hugely. I mean, passer rating, we all know it's a number with a lot of flaws. Right. It really represents not necessarily a quarterback's performance, but the overall pass game efficiency. And the pass game efficiency has absolutely dropped once you hit the postseason for Baltimore. But I honestly think only really one of those games represented a complete collapse where they ran into a scheme that shut them down. The way the Chargers defended him earlier in his career was a real kind of a good bit of coaching and a game plan that absolutely stymied them and caused them problems. Outside of that, the reality is once you hit the postseason, you play better teams most of the time. So the numbers are going to go down for most people. And Baltimore, up until this season, has had this Greg Roman offense where it's been very run focused. It's been 2 tight end looks. It's not been this versatile offense that can pivot to a bunch of different game plans depending on what they're faced with in the postseason. This offense this year with Todd Monken as offensive coordinator, it's a different animal. It's a different beast to try and shut down because they can win in a much more broad variety of ways than they've been able to in the past. And I think Lamar Jackson is playing as well now as he's played at any point in his career, including that unanimous MVP season. So, yeah, the numbers have gone down, but I don't think it's necessarily a big red flag and the narrative that it's going to be used that Lamar can't win in the playoffs and that, when he has to pass, he can't get it done.
Sunday night in Orchard Park, Patrick Holmes will play in his first true road playoff game. These teams met earlier in Kansas City in a lower scoring game. Remember, that was the offensive offsides penalty call back that negated Kansas City with a chance for a comeback win there. Buffalo prevailed. What's your outlook on how Mahomes and the Chiefs offense will perform in Buffalo Sunday night?
Yeah, such a great game. Really excited for this. Even if maybe neither team is as good as we thought they would be preseason or they were expected to be, the Chiefs offense, it still can't get out of its own way. They've been making mistakes all the way through the season from week 1 to last week. They consistently make these errors. The good news for them is that their defense is so good, they're able to make more of them than they would have been, say, last season or the season before. And Buffalo is so banged up now on defense, particularly the back seven. They are going to give the Chiefs opportunities to make some plays. So there is a lot of margin for error, I think, in this Chiefs offense because of who they're facing and because of the fact that their defense is so good. But they do need to make some plays. They need some of these guys to stop making mistakes, whether it's penalties, drop passes, fumbles, just everything across the board. The rookie Rashee Rice from SMU has been fantastic and consistently becoming a bigger and bigger part of that offense. They've understood how good he is and are leaning on him more. I think that only helps that offense because he's absolutely been their best playmaker this year.
Sam Munson joining us here on VSiN Primetime at PFF_Sam. Tampa at Detroit Sunday afternoon there. We saw just how lively that crowd was on Sunday. I imagine it's going to be duplicated, replicated, however you want to say it, come this Sunday. But the number keeps going up, right? They were a 3-point favorite against the Rams, Sam. Now they're 6.5. We'll see if it gets to 7-point favorite against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How do you look at this game, and do you think Tampa Bay can be lively on Sunday there against Detroit?
I think the Lions offense will have success. They have a really good group there. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. Jared Goff's been very good outside of a few games in the middle of the season where he had a real rocky patch. So you would expect the Lions to be able to put up points. And then the question becomes, can Baker Mayfield keep it together, keep this offense on the right track and make enough plays to keep pace with the Lions? And, that's where I think the question marks come from. The Eagles were so bad on both sides of the ball, but particularly on defense, that it just doesn't feel like a sensible barometer for where this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense was. They struggled to run the ball generally, and they were rattling off 5, 6, 7 yards a carry against the Eagles. And then every time they attempted a pass, it seemed like the receiver was able to run through the rest of the defense and score. So it's going to be harder this week. The Lions defense isn't amazing, but it's going to do an awful lot of a better job than the Eagles did. And Baker needs to avoid having those meltdowns that he's been prone to throughout his NFL career. But I think the Lions are going to put up a lot of points. And I think that the Bucs can keep it close, but I feel like the line is justified to favor the Lions by that much.
Sam, Houston played at Baltimore week 1. From your perspective, an analytical perspective, do you take anything away from that game? It was so long ago, and we only have about 25 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think you can take much from that. What you need to take is last week. The Browns had an amazing defense, and Bobby Slowick and C.J. Stroud absolutely shredded it. Now they're going to have to do it again against arguably the best pass defense in the NFL in the Ravens. It's going to be a really tough ask.
He's Sam Munson at PFF_Sam. Sam, always appreciate the insight. Enjoy the games this weekend.
You too, guys.
Thanks, Sam. There he is, Sam Munson. I tell you what, Mike, we're getting close to that line that I
Learn how thousands of smart homeowners are investing about $1 to avoid expensive home repair bills. John, a former non-customer, said, "My air conditioner broke and I had to spend $1,900 to fix it." Jeff, a customer, wrote, "My air conditioner broke and I got a new one at no out-of-pocket cost." Mary, a former non-customer, wrote, "My heating system stopped running. I had to spend $3,000 to get a new one." Lisa, a customer, wrote, "My heater stopped working. I got it fixed at no out-of-pocket cost. For about $1 a